Hello, everyone. This is Jay Dobbins, your host of the Marvel DC Universe Fan Club, and I'll be discussing three topics. One, Captain Marvel movie hires Tomb Raider writer, and the second one is going to be brief. Tom Cruise injured in a movie stunt fall, and then the next third topic, which is not going to be brief, is Samuel L. Jackson says Nick Fury isn't in Avengers Infinity War cast. Then the last but not least, we normally would do three topics. So this time, I'm going to talk a little bit about Dark Tower, which will be the fourth topic. So let's start with, um, let's see. Oh, yes. The fourth topic is about the Dark Tower director teasing potential sequel storyline. So we'll get to that later, and we're going to discuss the big stuff, which is Captain Marvel movie hires Tomb Raider writer. So, after the huge success of Wonder Woman, expectations are high for Marvel's first female lead superhero movie, Captain Marvel. Of course, Brie Larson is set to play the title character, and how it has now been reported that the movie has found a writer. So, according to Deadline, Geneva Robertson Duet will work on the script for the 2019 film. Robertson Duet is making a name for herself as the key writer for high-profile superhero and action movies. She wrote the script for next year's much-anticipated Tomb Raider reboot and worked on the DC supervillain team-up Gotham City Sirens. Which is currently in development. She has also been attached to a movie version of the classic toy line Mask, as well as a new Dungeons and Dragons film. Robertson Duet replaces Meg LeFauve and Nicole Perlman, who were originally hired for Captain Marvel. LeFauve is now co-directing Disney's animated film Gigantic instead. In April, it was announced that Anne Bowden and Ryan Fleck will direct Captain Marvel. The pair previously made the acclaimed gambling drama Mississippi Grind and have directed episodes of hit TV shows The Affair and Billions. Earlier this year, Larson spoke about the importance of taking on this iconic role. She said, and I quote, "The fact that she can be a bridge between two worlds, that she can go between Earth and space, and that her own personal place is in this little era between where Earth ends and space begins. And that's only hers. Is so moving to me," she said. Well, sorry, end quote, she said. And she said again, and I quote, "I'm just inspired. I've been so inspired going through the comics and reading them right now," end quote. Captain Marvel has been the name of various heroes over the years. The current incarnation is the alter ego of Carol Danvers. Danvers previously used the name of Miss Marvel and first appeared in her own comic book in 1977. before taking the identity of Captain Marvel in 2012. Captain Marvel hits theaters on March 2019. So, that concludes this topic here. And we're going to do a brief uh, topic, which is the second topic. Tom Cruise injured in the movie Stuntfall. So, according to CNN, production on the latest installment of the Mission Impossible franchise is on hold as star Tom Cruise recovers from an ankle injury sustained on set. The film studio confirmed to, of course, CNN. So, CNN's the source. So, that ends that second topic. It was very brief. The third topic is Samuel Jackson says Nick Fury isn't in Avengers Infinity War cast. So, Samuel Jackson was mysteriously absent in Captain America Civil War, and it seems he will stay that way. The actor recently claimed that Nick Fury won't be in Avengers Infinity War or Avengers 4. I wasn't in a superhero argument movie, Captain America Civil War. I'm not in Avengers 3 and 4. They're shooting them now and they haven't called me yet. Jackson told Yahoo. It seems he is even more irritated that he doesn't get to be in Black Panther, the first Marvel movie with a primarily black cast. They wouldn't let him go to Black Panther Ville, sorry. So it's kind of like, how you gonna make a Black Marvel movie and not let Nick Fury show up in it? Jackson said. Black Panther will consist mostly of characters from Wakanda, a fictional African country. The secretive technological hub is not super welcoming to outsiders, so it doesn't seem like mysterious Nick Fury would be the man they trust. Meanwhile, he wasn't in Civil War because the screenwriters Christopher Marcus and Stephen McFeely felt it would overcomplicate the situation. The film allowed the Avengers taking sides after the government decided superheroes couldn't make choices independently anymore. This is a quote from Christopher Marcus saying, primarily it felt like one too many possible opinions. So we didn't want them to take one side or the other because it's not his place in the universe. And then we didn't want another. So is he still, with the government? Is he opposed to the so yeah, I mean, like, is he opposed to the government but supporting the government? So everybody's kind of wondering, it got to be the potential for a lot more polemic discussion that the movie did not have room for, end quote. So, Marcus added that they also wanted to see how the Avengers fought without their parental figure. Let the parent go away. This is of course the quote. Let the parent go away and see if the kids can handle this, end quote. He explained. Another quote that he added: see if the kids can be who they're supposed to be without that government voice. And they didn't do that good of a job, end quote. So Nick Fury will be seen on screen again soon, but not in the present day. At San Diego Comic Con, Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige revealed that Fury was part of the Captain Marvel cast. The movie will take place in the 90s, earlier earlier than most Marvel movies, and Jackson will be playing the role without an eye patch. Captain Marvel won't be out until March 8th, 2019, between both Avengers films. Avengers: Age of Ultron, which came out in 2015, was the last movie Nick Fury appeared in, and unlike the ending of Captain America: Winter Soldier, he didn't really, hint that he would disappear. Um, so he simply told Black Widow Scarlett Johansson that Hulk's Mark Ruffalo Quinjet went off the radar. It seemed that it seems that maybe the last we'll see of President Nick Fury for a while. That is, of course, assuming that Jackson isn't lying about anything. After all, Marvel Studios is known for keeping spoilers under lock and key. So, Avengers Infinity War will hit theaters um, May 4th, 2018. Avengers 4, which is currently filming, will be out on May 3rd, 2019. So that ends this topic. Now, we're going to talk about the fourth topic, of course, which I think I normally don't do that. Is going to be information about the Dark Tower movie, or the upcoming Dark Tower movie. So, it's pretty interesting, though. The Dark Tower director teases potential sequel storyline. Yay! So, spoiler alert, if you have not seen the Dark Tower movie yet, I strongly advise you not to listen to this topic. Pretty much. Just get out of this episode, pretty much. You've been warned. So, with the first film only, just hitting cinemas, which I think has been 12 or 13 days, pretty much, it sounds like Columbia Pictures has already has ambitious plans for where Nikolai Arcel's Dark Tower could take us with a sequel. So, sorry, The Dark Tower, of course. Adapting Stephen King's sprawling saga, where there are already, plans for a TV series based on The Dark Tower, but it seems like another big screen adaptation isn't off the table by any means. While critics and box office figures alike haven't been too kind to the fantasy western starring Idris Elba and Matthew McConaughey, that hasn't stopped the movie studio looking to a second film and a continuing franchise. Speaking to, of course, Acel, and this is Screen Rant, they spoke to Arcel, and he revealed how he hopes to continue after this year's malign cinematic entry. So while like the film ended with Elba's Roland and Tom Taylor's Jake making the decision to leave Keystone Earth behind and presumably set out on a new adventure. When quizzed on where we could go next, Arcells said that we should look to Stephen King's book series for inspiration. So he said, and I quote, I can tell you that you can probably find a lot of that answer in book two, the drawing of three. So that's the best I can do, end quote. Given the dramatic climax of the Dark Tower and presumed death of McConaughey's Man in Black, Arcel teased that we might not have seen the last of the movie's big villain, of course. Um, and he said, and I quote, I think it's fair to say that the Man in Black will return. Yeah, he's the main, he's the villain, pretty much. He's the villain. If we had really wanted to kill him off for good, it would have been a bigger moment. And I think it was almost like, did he die? Did he not? I don't know. For me, he certainly didn't. He is in the later installments of the novels. So yeah. Well, I guess that's not the end of the Man in Black after all. Sorry, end quote. But yeah, I guess that's not the end of the Man in Black after all. So, so while it sounds like the malevolent Walter O'Dim will be back on board, Arcel also teased that Jackie Earl Haley could also return as Saber, the humanoid vampire leader. And this is another quote he said, Arcel said, I think there is a possible return for him. We don't see him actually die. So we don't see him actually die, right? But I think he will. But I think he's definitely one of those characters that I felt wasn't a big character in the script. But Jackie, um, I've always loved his work. I just told him, listen, it's not a huge part, but it's important. A seriously important character, and he was so game. He was cool. He was just like, yeah, I love the character, so let me do it. But you never know, what can happen. End quote. So, if we are looking at adapting the drawing of three, we can assume that the Dark Tower 2 will also introduce fan favorite characters Eddie Dean and Odetta Holmes slash uh, Detta Walker. However, Jake's role in particularly sorry Jake's role in particular gets more complicated from here on out. With King reportedly wanting the sequel to head for an R rating, it will be interesting to see how Arcel handles all of this for the sequel. Given the criticism on the given the criticism of the first film, it looks like it won't just be the source material that will need a reshuffle when if when slash if we move up the doors of the Dark Tower. So that concludes this. Wait a minute. Yeah, sorry. Before I conclude the topic, I just want to go on record and say that the Dark Tower, the Dark Tower movie when it came out, um, made 19.5 million in the first week. So when the movie came out, it made 19.5 million, and now, I believe the movie made Hey, how much was that again? Sorry, yeah, the movie has now made domestically in the U.S. of course, it has made 36.4 million. Uh, you know, 36,402,518 million dollars. So you know what? Forget it. I'm just gonna say 36.4 million. That's how much the movie made domestically, and that's in the U.S. Now, foreign, like overseas, like overseas, the movie has made so far 19.1 million. So put that to so that was so that's 19,100,945 pretty much dollars. But worldwide, it has made 55.5 million. So that's 55,503,463 million dollars. So that's the domestic total as of August 15. So, but they spent, the production budget was 60 million. So people are wondering, wait a minute, shouldn't it be doubled if the movie comes out? If you're making that much, if you spend that much money on a movie that's pretty much, coming out in August, people would expect, the movie to double that amount when it hits theaters. They think that, oh yeah, we should be making, if we spent, you know, 60 million on the movie, we should be, the movie should make, you know, 120 million. But that's not really the case, you know. So, that's not always the case. Sometimes it's the case, but most of the time, I don't think it is. Especially if a movie's coming out in August. So, but yeah, if the movie comes out in August and the production budget is 60 million, most people don't expect that movie to do good. But luckily, the movie has come out overseas and it's making a little bit more money. So therefore, worldwide, they're just short of 5 million. So, which 55.5 million. That's how much money they made worldwide. And if they could if they could make that $60 million mark to where it makes $60, if it makes $60 million worldwide, then they pretty much would do good, you know, as far as the movie, So instead of it doubling, it would at least make that, the same amount that it was spent on the movie, except, it's worldwide instead of domestic. So domestic wise, the movie has made more than half of the production budget. But worldwide, it's, you know, uh, like 55.5 million worldwide. So if it can gain at least 5 million more, if it makes an extra, if it can get that extra 5 million, then they might be, I mean, I think they would be good in my opinion. They the first week they did flop, but they did. I'm thinking they're doing good now. As the weeks are, you know, have passed, they have done well. As far as worldwide. So that's good. But domestic wise, at least they made more than half of the money. But they can still make more money, since the movie's out overseas. So I don't know how many countries that this movie is out overseas, but uh, you know, like I said, if they could hit that $60 million mark worldwide, then that'll be great. But I still think, in my opinion, I still think that 55.5 million worldwide is still good. So at least they got like the majority of that money, so they could pretty much use that money to do a sequel. And plus they could since Sony's worth billions anyway, they could pretty much add, you know, 5 million for that movie. But we'll see. So, you know, fingers crossed. I still hope that they will gain an extra 5 million. So, oh, and before I forget, the Dark Tower TV series, that's pretty much in the works. Oh, and also know the series will not affect the movie. So, oh, and Idris Elba who plays Roland, will be making a cameo appearance in the TV series. So, meaning that the TV series is going to focus mainly on young Roland, not the current Roland, but young Roland. So I guess there's going to be another actor to play Roland, but the younger version. So I'm guessing that's going to be from the first book, which is the Gunslinger, which is the Dark Tower of the Gunslinger. So I'm thinking it's going to, or the Gunslinger, or a Gunslinger Born, one of them. I think it might be one of those series. So yeah, a Gunslinger Born, like the Dark Tower, a Gunslinger Born, or the Dark Tower, the Gunslinger. So it's going to be one of those um, stories, or one of the books that the TV series will be focusing on mainly. So, but I'm gonna be honest with you, I never really read the Dark Tower books or the graphic novels, but I assure you I will, since the movie was very interesting, and I liked it. So I'm thinking, okay, what? Let me read the books and wiki of the book or the entire series, so I can learn more, pretty much. So I'm interested in learning more. So I might, well, Stephen King wrote 8 books though, so I'm gonna probably just get all the books and get all the graphic novels and pretty much, read them and learn more. So that way, when the sequel comes out and the TV series comes out, I'll be ready, and I will definitely have all the knowledge possible. So for the so that way I'll know, what's going on, and what's going to happen and what to expect, that type of thing. Oh, and learn more about the characters and who are going to be hinted or teased, or like who would appear in the stories later on in the future. So, and of course the movies later on in the future. But that concludes this episode. Feel free to visit us and like us on Facebook. We're available on iTunes and the Google Play Music app.